This is not the first time that Errol Spence has talked about moving up through the weights and taking on people like Canelo Alvarez. He's even talked before about taking on Golovkin. But in this particular interview here on Fight Hub TV, which is a really underrated YouTube channel when it comes to doing boxing interviews, I really like Fight Hub TV and Marcus Villegas. I think he's a great interviewer, great interview style. He is not as informal as maybe a Kugan Cassius or a Rob Tebbett. He's a little more formal than that, but he's still very relaxed with his formal interview style, very relaxed. So yeah, doing a great job, Marcus Villegas on Fight Hub TV. Really doesn't get as much recognition as I think he should be getting. So anyway, this is a very good interview with Errol Spence. Spence, as we saw from the press conference that he gate crashed the other weekend involving Sean Porter and Danny Garcia, he's put on a hell of a lot of weight. I mean, Spence don't look too far off 200 pounds here. He must be weighing at least, 180? Maybe more? Not good to see Errol Spence putting on so much weight, because prior to this, he was always in shape year round. He might go up to the high 160s, 170s, etc. But this is the heaviest I've ever seen Errol Spence look. He might even be 190 here. He's very, very big here. And so the next time he has to make weight, if it's going to be anytime this year, it may be difficult for him, and it's not good blowing up like this anyway. So he might have to move up before long if he's going to be blowing up like this and take on the winner of a Golovkin Canelo anyway, because he won't be able to make welterweight safely again, potentially. How do I think he would do? Well, as drunk as he looked at that press conference the other week, and as bloated as he looks now, I don't think he'd do very well against a Canelo or a Triple G if he moved up. If he was to have any chance against either one of them, he needs to get his lifestyle back in order, stop hanging around with Gervonta Davis and Adrian Broner, and get back to the man he was before. I like the fact he's ambitious. I don't like the fact he seems to be swerving Crawford, but I like the fact he's ambitious. I remember Floyd Mayweather saying that the pound-for-pound title would eventually be contested between Canelo Alvarez and Errol Spence. That was one of his predictions. But to be fair, Floyd Mayweather's predictions haven't been very good over the years. He predicted that Chad Dawson would be the next pound-for-pound guy and, long reigning pound-for-pound guy. I don't know if Chad Dawson ever was number one pound-for-pound. He might have been 1 or 2 pound-for-pound at some stage during his career, very briefly. But Mayweather was acting as though Chad Dawson was going to be the heir to his throne, and that obviously didn't happen. So his predictions haven't been great in the past. Errol Spence is somebody who I've rated very highly up until this point, but I think he's at a crossroads in his career. And he can even get back on the straight and narrow, or he can go off the rails and suffer a loss or 2 or 3 or 4 or however many, But I do think that Errol Spence could, if he gets himself back on track physically and mentally in terms of his focus and his discipline, I think he could do well going up as far as middleweight and taking on somebody like a Canelo. Because Canelo, as good a fighter as he is, he's not a massive puncher at middleweight. He's a good puncher at light middleweight, and I'm sure he'd have enough power to hurt Spence. But Spence wouldn't be going in there with a Julian Jackson or a Gerald McClellan level middleweight in terms of punching power. Skills, boy, Canelo's got skills all day. He's a tremendously skilled fighter, very fast, explosive, great combination puncher, great accuracy. I mean, there's so many great attributes about Canelo. But punching power is an area where Canelo is not outstanding in terms of punching power. He's a good puncher, but there's nothing outstanding. So, yeah, in the future, that's definitely a fight that could be a potential blockbuster, a super fight. But Errol Spence has got a long way to go before he can realistically start, planning for nights like that. I'd like to see him clean out the welterweight division if he's even capable of that first. And, then we'll go from there. Maybe step up to light middle, or maybe just jump all the way to middle. We'll see. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think Errol Spence's style would translate to middleweight? Because some people's styles just don't translate. In fact, it often happens with punchers, guys who rely on punching power. Guys who are not particularly quick. They might be a big puncher who's effective at a certain weight, but when they move up to the next weight, their punches don't have so much of an effect on the bigger guys, and they don't have speed or mobility to fall back on because that was never what they traded on in the first place. I mean, somebody like a Brandon Rios would probably be a good example. When he was at the lighter weights, he was getting guys out of there with strength and heavy-handedness and what have you. But as he moved up in weight, not only were his punches not as effective against his opponents, but he was getting more hurt by the bigger guys. Like when he stepped up to welterweight, he even got stopped by Tim Bradley, who has never been noted as a puncher. So some guys' styles and abilities translate to higher weight divisions better than others. Does Errol Spence's style and his ability allow for him to move up to middleweight and have success eventually? You let me know what you think in the comment section below. It's happening. I'm out.